Ahojte všetci, ja som Tereza Dobrotová, dnes tu som aj s Ivanou Fáber. Ahoj Ivy. A
Ahoj, Tereska.
máme tu špeciálneho hostia, doktora Antonyho Mattisa. A dnes s ním budeme robiť rozhovor, ja budem prekladať a ty mu budeš Ivy pokladať otázky o ňom a o kúzlach a o symfonii možností. So, hi everyone, I am Tereza Dobrotová and I'm here with Ivana Faber. We have a special guest, Dr. Anthony Mattis. Welcome.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Yay. And today, Ivana, you're going to ask him questions about, well, you're going to be asked about yourself and about magic and about Symphony of Possibilities. And I'll be translating. So let's do this.
Let's do it.
So, hi, everybody. Hi, Anthony. I'm so glad to have you here.
Thanks for having me here, Ivana.
I always introduce you as a man of many talents. And for me, the SOP is like one of the biggest.
Ahoj, Antony, ahojte všetci. A ja som vďačná za to, že tu si a vždy ťa predstavujem ľuďom ako človeka, ktorý má veľmi veľa talentov a SOP je jedným z nich.
But not everybody knows what SOP is, and I'm actually really curious how you got to meet this energy and how you got to start to play with it. So if you want to tell us.
Takže možno nie každý vie aj, čo to je vôbec symfónia možností a mňa by aj zaujímalo, že vôbec ako si sa k tejto energii dostal a ako si sa s ňou začal hrať.
Yeah, so, SOP, actually for those people who may not know about it, it stands for Symphony of Possibilities. And it's an energy work that was created by Dr. Dane here, the co-creator of Access Consciousness.
Tak SOP alebo symfónia možností je niečo, je určitá energetická práca, ktorá bola vytvorená doktorom Daneom Heerom, spolutvorcom Access Consciousness.
Yeah, so Access Consciousness was created by Gary Douglas like over 30 years ago to basically help people to change basically anything in their lives that aren't working for them with pragmatic tools.
Pred asi 30 rokmi Gary Douglas založil v podstate Access Consciousness s tým účelom, aby pragmatickými nástrojmi pomohol ľuďom vlastne vyriešiť čokoľvek, čo v ich živote nefunguje.
And there's so many different available resources within Access Consciousness, and SOP happens to be sort of like the miracle division of Access Consciousness.
Access Consciousness je veľa rôznych zdrojov a SOP v podstate patrí do takej divízie zázrakov.
Yeah, so I've been in Access for 11 years now, and I started really working with the SOP energies about 8 years ago.
A v Accesse som už 11 rokov a s SOP energiami som začal pracovať tak pred 8 rokmi.
Yeah, so how did it start?
Yeah, well, at the time I was just, I was so fascinated with all the different tools on Access Consciousness. And so I was sort of like on my way to become a facilitator, and the Symphony of Possibilities, SOP, was just a class I needed to take to become a facilitator. So I didn't really, it was just like a thing to get me to where I wanted to go with being a facilitator, but I definitely didn't expect to be where I am now.
Tak Access nástroje, bol som nimi fascinovaný, používal som ich a v podstate chcel som sa stať facilitátorom a kurz Symfónia možností bol jedným z predpokladov, ako sa vôbec facilitátorom stať. Ale vôbec by som nepredpokladal, že by som skončil tam, kde som skončil teraz.
So that's really fascinating for me to hear.
Yeah, well, truly. I mean, me too. Me too. Even after all this time, but professionally, I've been in the healing profession for, more than 25 years as a chiropractor.
Povedzme, že v tom akoby liečeniu som sa venoval už 25 rokov alebo tak, ako chiropraktik.
But SOP isn't just for people who are in a healing profession, it's for everybody.
SOP ale nie je iba pre ľudí, ktorí sa venujú liečeniu alebo sú v tejto profesii, je to pre kohokoľvek.
So the way that this particular journey showed up for me was like just one day in an advanced class, Dr. Dane here, the creator of SOP, he asked me if I could work on his body as a chiropractor.
A ako sa to celé ukázalo, bolo na jednom z pokročilých kurzov, ma Dr. Dane here oslovil, či by som mohol pracovať na jeho tele v podstate zase ako chiropraktik.
Yeah, and Gary Douglas was at the front of the room facilitating the class, and I'm doing my thing in the back of the room working on Dane, and it was the very last day of that class, and then Gary Douglas, the founder of Access Consciousness, comes up to me. He's like, I saw you working on Dane. He's like, would you like to work on? He goes, are you any good? And I'm like, I guess it depends on who you ask. And I was just doing chiropractic, not SOP. And he's like, well, would you like to work on me? And I was like,
A na tom kurze vlastne facilitoval ho Gary Douglas, zakladateľ Access Consciousness, a ja som pracoval na Daneovi, spolutvorcovi vzadu, hej, v miestnosti. A vlastne ten posledný deň za mnou prišiel Gary Douglas, že či by som... sa ma spýtal vlastne najskôr, že či mi to ide dobre, akože, či som dobrý v tom. A povedal som mu, tak záleží asi, koho sa spýtaš. Ale tak ma požiadal o to, aby som takisto pracoval ako chiropraktik na jeho tele. Vtedy to ešte nebolo nič z SOP.
Yeah, so, you know, and at the time I had my kids with me, and I was a single father, and they were little. So there was a part of me that was trying to find a reason to get out of it, using my kids as an excuse. And then there was the other part that was like, this might be the moment you've been waiting for your entire life. Don't fuck this up.
A časť mňa, keď sa ma na to spýtal, bola taká, lebo ja som mal na kurze aj moje deti a v tom období som bol v podstate ako otec sám, ktorý sa o ne staral, a snažil som sa nájsť cez tie moje deti aj nejakú výhovorku, aby som nemusel do toho ísť, a zase druhá strana mi hovorila, toto môže byť ten moment, o ktorý si žiadal, tak to prosím neposer.
Yeah, so, you know, I went upstairs to work on Gary, and thank God Dane was in the room, and I'm like, he doesn't want chiropractic, does he? And Dane goes, no. And I'm like, well, what am I gonna do? And he's like, you'll figure it out.
Tak ja som išiel urobiť toto sedenie na Garym a našťastie bol v miestnosti aj Dane, a ja sa tak pozerám na Dana, ale Gary, on nechce chiropraxiu však. Nie, ale čo mám robiť? Uvidíš.
So Gary lays on the table, and I'm thinking to myself, I don't know what to do for this guy, you know, because at the time he was in his 70s, and I'm like, he doesn't want chiropractic. I'm like, and then I thought about Dane's story about how when he and Gary met, and that whole energetic experience where you can find on YouTube somewhere. And I'm like, why do I have this sense that something similar is going to happen for me? So I was just like, I don't know what to do. So I just laid my hands on his body. And I was like, and all of a sudden Gary's body went, and he's like, you shot a lightning bolt through my body. And then he yelled out to Dane, and he goes, hey, Dane, we found someone who has similar capacities as you. I was like, what?
A Gary tam ležal na stole a vlastne vtedy mal už viac ako 70 rokov. Ja som si hovorila, tak čo s ním ale budem robiť? Ale pamätal som si na to, ako vlastne ten príbeh o tom, ako vzniklo ESB, kedy Dane poprvýkrát pracoval na Garyho tele. A prišiel mi taký ten pocit, že toto môže byť niečo podobné. No a položil som na neho ruky a jeho telo sa začalo proste hýbať. A povedal mi, bolo to ako keby si poslal nejaký blesk cez moje telo, a zavolal na Dana, že Dane, myslím, že sme našli niekoho, kto má podobné kapacity ako ty.
So this type of energy work is, you know, sometimes you may put your hands on the person's body, but most of the time you're like off the person's body. So Gary's like, okay, I want you to go stand on the other side of the room and put your hands up. And he's like, there. And he's like, do you feel that? And sometimes I did. I'm like, oh my God. And then sometimes I'm like, no. And he's like, okay, move them around. He's like, do you feel that? And I'm like, oh my God, yes. And it was like my whole world. It was like I stepped into this other universe that was so magnificent.
Pri tejto energetickej práci sa môžeme aj dotýkať tela, ale aj veľa pracujeme mimo tela. Takže ja som sa postavil do rohu tej miestnosti a v podstate som začal akoby mávať rukami a vnímal som, hej, tu na to cítim, tu na až tak úplne nie, ok, tak pohni rukami inde, inštruoval ma Gary, hej, a v podstate som sa úplne otvoril takému novému energetickému svetu cez toto.
Yeah, and then so Gary's body starts flopping around all over the table. Like, I was like, wait a minute. Like, I wasn't even like, I'm like, I didn't even know what I was doing. And his body's flopping around. And then Dane's like, what's going on in there? He's like, I want to turn.
A ja som proste mával rukami v priestore a ani som sa ho nedotýkal. Nevedel som nutne, čo robím. A Garyho telo sa metalo na tom masážnom stole a z druhej miestnosti volal Dane, že čo to tam robíte? Čo sa tam deje? Ja chcem takisto.
And then Gary gets off the table. He's like, that was amazing. Dane gets on the table and Gary's like, okay, stand over there, stand over there. He's sort of like guiding me through the process. Dane starts laughing, he starts crying, his body starts flopping around, and I'm like, whoa.
A potom sa vymenili a lahol si Dane. A Gary ma v podstate viedol, kam sa mám postaviť v miestnosti, čo mám robiť. A Dane treba zrazu sa začal smiať, potom plakať, začal sa jeho telo metať na stole a vravil som si, wow.
So Gary looks at me in that moment and he goes, you were the first person who's ever been able to create this effect in Dane's universe. He goes, not even I, Gary Douglas, have been able to create this for Dane. He's like, do you get that you have a capacity in this area? And I'm like, duh, no.
Gary sa na mňa pozrel a povedal mi, ty si ten prvý, ktorého sme našli, ktorý dokáže niečo takéto vytvoriť vo vesmíre, Dana. Chápeš, že s týmto máš nejakú kapacitu? A som vravel, nie.
So I literally in that moment, I'm like, these guys just feel sorry for me. I'm a widower. They're just trying to make me feel good about myself.
V tom momente som si hovoril, že oni len chcú, aby som sa cítil dobre, lebo som vdovec a chcú ma nejako utešiť.
Yeah, and so they looked at me and they're like, we would like you to start doing sessions at the back of our classes. Is this something that would be of interest to you?
A oni sa ma spýtali, boli by sme radi, keby si začal robiť na našich kurzoch vzadu v miestnosti sedenia. Páčilo by sa ti niečo také?
And here's the gift, and I'll never forget the comment that he said to me, because this is for everybody, not just me. And I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. And he's like, it's not about knowing what you're doing. He's like, it's your being.
A on mi potom povedal, čo bolo pre mňa veľkým darom. A nie iba pre mňa, ale chcel by som, aby to vedeli všetci. Ja som mu vravel, ale ja netuším, čo robím. A na to nie je o tom vedieť, čo robíš, ale o tom, čím si.
So I took a leap of faith, even with all my insecurities and my self-doubt. And I started doing sessions and around the world and working on people. And it was about 4 years of me doing sessions when I started to approach Dane, Dr. Dane here. And I'm like, I really would love to contribute to facilitating classes because you guys have taught me so much. I know I can teach people this beautiful world of energy.
Skočil som do neznáma, napriek mojim všetkým strachom a pochybnostiam začal som robiť sedenia a asi tak po 4 rokoch som prišiel za Daneom, povedal som mu, chcel by som viacej prispieť aj čo sa týka facilitácie. Vy ste ma toho naučili toľko, že by som to rád predával ďalej.
And let me correct myself. It's not really teaching anybody because it's like we're all energy, but it's really showing people that how like their being is enough and their being is a contribution to create change in other people's lives.
A to nie je o tom, že by som nutne chcel niekoho niečo učiť, ale je to o tom, že som chcel ľuďom ukázať o tom, že to ich bytie, akým je príspevkom.
So about 4 years of me bugging Dane, like, I'm ready. He's like, no, you're not. And like with Access, it's always about following the energy. And last year, Dane's like, okay, why don't you start to facilitate and oversee the afternoon sessions of SOP, the Symphony of Possibilities class, which is a 4-day class. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then out of that came this new class called Opening of the Symphony, which is a 2.5-day class.
Ja som tak 4 roky chodil za Daneom a vravel som mu, poď, môžem už začať, som pripravený, nie si. No a nakoniec, teda bol to pred rokom, kedy ma Dane oslovil, či by som nechcel facilitovať poobedia kurzov Symfónie možností. Tak som s tým začal a v podstate z toho vzniklo niečo, čo sa teraz volá aj Otvorenie symfónie, ďalší kurz.
Yeah, and what's beautiful about it is it's not only is it for beginners, obviously, to introduce people into this new universe, but even for the people who have taken the 4-day Symphony of Possibilities class, it's like to receive the information or the energies from someone who's been working directly with Gary and Dane for 8 years, it adds more to their sessions.
A toto je kurz nielen pre začiatočníkov, ale je to aj kurz pre tých, ktorí už na symfónii možností boli, pretože získať informácie od človeka, ktorý bol v úzkom kontakte a spolupracoval úzko 8 rokov s Gerim a s Daneom, naozaj tie informácie častokrát nám môžu dojsť úplne iným spôsobom, keď nám to ich predá niekto iný.
Yeah. And then after the 2.5-day class, if you're not already a symphony practitioner, you can become a symphony practitioner and start actually doing sessions on people.
Po tomto 2,5-dňovom kurze, ak ste predtým ešte neboli praktikmi symfónie, tak sa nimi stávate a môžete začať robiť sedenia.
Yeah, and then you have the 4-day Symphony of Possibilities class, which is sort of more advanced, which Dane facilitates, and I also facilitate the afternoon sessions of those classes. But just think of it as like another available resource to change the things in your life that are not working for you, and for you to ultimately access more of you.
A ďalšou z týchto možností teda máme tu otvorenie symfónie, 2,5-dňový kurz a potom 4-dňový kurz symfónia možností, ktorý teda facilituje Dr. Dane Heer. A pozerajte sa v podstate na všetky tieto kurzy ako na rôzne, akoby na ďalšie možnosti, ako si viete poradiť s tým, čo by ste chceli v živote zmeniť.
You know, for me personally, and I know you want to ask me a question, but for me personally, it blasted through my insecurities. It blasted through the trauma and dramas in my life. And it created this space where I started to get a greater sense of me, and my confidence started to exponentialize in every area of my life.
Pre mňa to naozaj prerazilo všetky moje neistoty, všetky traumy, drámy, ktoré som mala v živote a otvorilo to dvere takému sebavedomiu v úplne všetkých oblastiach môjho života, ktoré som dovtedy nemal.
Yeah, my life started becoming greater.
A môj život sa stával lepším a lepším.
Can I ask you, I would like to go a little bit back to the magic of the sessions, because you start every session with a question. What would you like to change, or if you could get anything, what would it be? Would you be willing to talk about that?
Chcela som sa ťa spýtať niečo ohľadom sedení a kúzla sedení, lebo ty začínaš každé to svoje sedenie nejakou otázkou, keby si mohol získať čokoľvek, čo by to bolo, alebo zmeniť čokoľvek, môžeš nám o tom povedať viac?
Yeah, you know, in basically all religions and philosophies, you hear like the saying, like, ask and ye shall receive, right? You hear that in all philosophies and religions and metaphysics.
V rôznych filozofiách, náboženstvách, metafyzike môžeme počuť, požiadaj a bude ti dané.
Yeah, because the question actually creates this like acoustical wave out into the universe. And when you ask a question, it sort of rearranges everything on a molecular level to actually create and contribute to the thing you're asking to show up.
Otázka v podstate vytvára akustickú vlnu do vesmíru, ktorá potom umožňuje, aby sa na molekulárnej úrovni veci menili, čo umožní potom, aby tá vaša žiadosť sa ukázala.
Yeah, so like when you ask someone, okay, what is it that you would really like to receive? If there's anything you can get out of this session, what would it be? That actually starts to begin to create that energetic space for the very thing that they're asking for to begin to show up. And I'm just a catalyst for that. I'm just contributing to that energetically.
Takže keď sa niekoho opýtate, čo by chcel, tak to vytvára ten priestor na to, aby sa to tam začalo tvoriť, aby tá žiadosť sa mohla uskutočniť. A ja som v podstate taký katalizátor toho celého.
Now, every once in a while, you'll have people who think I'm Santa Claus. And they're like, I want a new house. I want a new car. And I want a boyfriend.
Občas sa stane aj, že sú ľudia, ktorí si myslia, že som Ježiško, povedzme, alebo Santa Claus a prídu, chcem nový dom, chcem nové auto a chcem nového priateľa.
So I may ask more questions.
Na to teda asi väčšinou ako pokladám ďalšie otázky.
Because at the end of the day, okay, that's okay, right? But it's like, in order to have things show up in your life, you need to be able and willing to receive those things.
Lebo aj to je v poriadku, a na to, aby sa mohli veci ukázať vo vašom živote, musíte byť schopní ich prijať.
Right? And so it comes down to, in order to receive, you need to be.
A na to, aby ste mohli príjmať, musíte byť.
And in order to be, you need to be willing to receive.
A na to, aby ste mohli byť, musíte byť ochotní príjmať.
So what the session actually does is it actually creates the space for you to begin to be and receive whatever it is that you're asking for.
To sedenie vytvára priestor, kde môžete byť a kde môžete príjmať to, po čom túžite alebo o čo žiadate.
But it's interesting because a lot of people aren't congruent always with what they're asking for.
Častokrát ľudia nebývajú akoby v súlade, kongruentní s tým, o čo žiadajú.
So in the beginning, you may be working with a lot of the walls and barriers and the resistance that people have that are keeping them from having the life that they're actually asking for.
Takže na začiatku to môže byť práca práve s tým odporom alebo s tými bariérami, ktoré ľuďom bránia v tom, aby mali to, o čo žiadajú.
So sometimes in the beginning, like when you first working with someone, it may just be trying to break through those walls and barriers just to create a little crack.
Na začiatku to fakt môže byť práca dostať sa nejako cez tie steny a bariéry, len aby ste vytvorili troška otvoru.
You may spend the first 58 minutes of a session before you even get through. And the last 10 minutes, like, the last 2 minutes, like, changes their entire life. But the whole first 58 minutes of a session is just trying to find that little crack to get through.
Prvých 58 minút to môže byť o tom, že sa najskôr snažíte zboriť tie bariéry, dostať sa cez to všetko, čo tomu bráni a potom posledné 2 minúty sú tam na to, aby sa im zmenil celý vesmír.
And that's okay. It's okay.
A to je tiež okay.
Yeah, but a lot of us were all taught to put up those walls and barriers in order to protect ourselves from the horrors of this reality.
Veľa z nás bolo učených práve si okolo seba stavať bariéry a steny na to, aby sme boli ochránení, povedzme, pred všetkými tými hrôzami tejto reality.
And especially if people have been through so much drama and trauma and pain and suffering.
A hlavne, ak ľudia prechádzali traumou, drámou a bolesťou, utrpením.
Am I breaking up on you guys?
No. It's okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a little bit slower sometimes, but it's completely fine.
Okay.
I love the way you talk about SOP.
Veľmi sa mi páči spôsob, akým hovoríš o SOP.
It's so easy to follow and so easy to like get much more than just magic.
Je to jednoduché v podstate to nasledovať a chápať a vôbec získať z toho veľa viacej ako kúzlo.
Yeah, thank you for saying that because that is one way that I've always felt like, that's an area where I felt like I could be a contribution for people.
A ďakujem, že to spomínaš, lebo to je presne jedna oblasť, v ktorej som mal vždy pocit, že môžem prispieť.
Because as esoteric as it seems and supernatural as it seems, it's very pragmatic.
Nech už to znie akokoľvek ezotericky alebo supernaturálne, tak je to veľmi pragmatické.
Because it is magnificent, truly.
Je to naozaj úžasné.
But sometimes people think it's so far out there that they'll never be able to like bring it into their universe here.
Ale niekedy ľudia z toho majú pocit, že to je fakt až také niekde mimo, uletené, že si to nemôžu priniesť k sebe do vesmíru.
So I understand where people are functioning from when they work with this type of tool.
Že rozumiem akoby aj ľuďom pri tom, keď pracujú s takýmto nástrojom.
And I know I can contribute to their universe to help them to actually access these energies even greater.
A viem, že môžem prispieť ich vesmíru, aby si sprístupnili tieto energie ešte viacej.
Yeah, it's exciting for me personally.
A je to pre mňa vzrušujúce.
And so, Anthony, this new class of yours, the people are actually going to work on one another, right? It's really practical.
Totally.
Tento tvoj nový kurz, ľudia tam budú robiť sedenia, však jeden na druhom a je to praktický v podstate kurz. Áno.
Yeah,
that's
all we're going to do. We're going to work and then things will come up and then we'll facilitate that to create more space and then we're going to work again and it's going to be all play.
Áno, presne tak, takže ľudia budú pracovať jeden na druhom, potom z toho vyvstanú určité veci, cez ktoré prejdeme facilitáciou a potom sa bude pracovať ďalej a budeme sa hrať.
So the first one in Europe is actually pretty near already, and it's in Budapest in March 3 to 5. Right? Do I have it right? Yes.
Prvý z týchto kurzov bude v Európe, práve bude v Budapešti, už sa to blíži 3. až 5. marca.
So, and this class people have to travel to because it's not an online option, right? It's just a live class, but there is already amazing group of bodies that are coming to play.
Yes.
A je to kurz, ktorý bude prebiehať iba naživo, čiže sa tam stretne skupina úžasných tiel, ktoré sa tam budú spolu hrať.
Yeah, and if they can't make that one, in the middle of March in Mexico, there'll be a live and online version as well, and that will be after the ESB, the Energetic Synthesis of Being class that Dane will be facilitating.
A pokiaľ ľudia nestihnú prísť na tento, tak bude v polke marca kombinovaný v Mexiku naživo a online. Bude prebiehať po kurze ESB, ktorý tam bude.
I find it really amazing, this new possibility of being introduced to the world of SOP by you.
Thank you.
Táto možnosť mať takéto predstavenie vlastne do SOP sveta cez teba mi príde veľmi, veľmi úžasná, veľmi zrušujúca.
So I appreciate that because you've always sort of acknowledged that many years ago before this even showed up. So, you know, I appreciate you receiving it and sort of witnessing the growth and the progress.
For sure, yeah.
A toto si uznala už pred rokmi. Takže som veľmi vďačný aj za to, že si to mohla sledovať vlastne tieto celé roky, ako sa to vyvíjalo.
That's what excited me so much when I saw your new class. I had to write to you. It's like, what? Dear.
Keď som to videla, že ideš robiť takýto nový kurz, tak som z toho bola absolútne bez seba, musela som ti napísať.
Yeah,
so congratulations, actually, and who are we going to meet there?
Exactly.
Blahoželám ti a takisto, koho tam stretneme všetkého na kurze?
So thanks a lot, and maybe see you again in this group about something else soon.
Yeah.
Tak ďakujeme ti veľmi pekne a možno sa uvidíme zase čoskoro aj v tejto skupine.
Awesome. Thank you, Ivana.
Thank you.
Ďakujeme. Čaute.
Yeah.